So first thing that I realized is I got to figure out what's really going on, right? What's on my calendar, right? So in addition to everything else, you've read the case, I said, well, I've got to immediately get out there to that plant. It's not that far away. I got to figure this out. Is this real or is this just rumor that these gloves are falling apart? So I went and talked to the soldiers, and you know what the soldiers told me? The soldiers told me it's my fault. I took the gloves off. I shouldn't have taken the gloves off. And I said, yeah, but were they working properly? And I said, well, a lot of times they would get wet, right? And they'd be soaked and soggy from sweat. A lot of times they'd rip or they'd break and they wouldn't work right. Sometimes the fingers might be twisted and they wouldn't work properly. I should have just kept them on because I knew they could protect me, but they just weren't working right. And they accepted the blame for having taken the gloves off, right? And I knew it wasn't their fault. It rested purely on my shoulders. It did. Mine being, someone, didn't have to be Mike Sloan, but it could have been anyone who made the decision to procure and field those gloves. And boy, what a responsibility. I mean, that contract was let, well before my time as a PM. But it didn't matter, right? Just like for you, it doesn't matter. I mean, once you're in that leadership job, it's yours to fix. So I accepted it. And I worked through it. And so, wow, I was like, man, I've got my work, cut out for me. And this is just gloves. And oh, by the way, in a week and a half from now, I'm going to be jumping that new parachute again, checking, make sure my guys are doing all the stuff right on the drop zone out there at Fort Bragg, right? Then I also got all the flame-resistant environmental ensemble for all the aviators. We're working that equipment. And oh, by the way, we were in charge of the EQUIX, the Extended Cold Weather Clothing System, the 12-piece ensemble for soldiers in Afghanistan and Iraq. Got that going on. Got the new boots. Got new mountain combat boots going on. So everything's going on. But this one drew my attention because this had to do with safety. So we talked a little bit about some basic things here. So one of our responsibilities is to provide that flame-resistant capability to every deploying soldier, right? Full gear to include gloves. And our motto is every soldier, everywhere, every day in PEO soldier, and especially, if you're providing all that individual equipment. And so, boy, this was a challenge. How are we going to fix this? And it was tough. And so one of the things that I'd realized is that, and it was good, is that the APM teams, the assistant project manager teams, were empowered. They were empowered, but they had a lot of things going on at once. And I mentioned the contracting. We received roughly $80 to $100 million every month just for RFI, right? Just in my PM office as an 05. Not the other, 300 minus maybe 20 or 30 on there of mine, 250 programs, just for those RFI items, $80 to $100 million a month. And we would normally receive it between the 10th and the 15th of every month is when the OCO dollars would be released, right? And I had to have it obligated by the end of every month, had to be on contract. Unbelievable. So not a lot of time to look at every single contract, although we did have contracting offices up at Natick and APG, Aberdeen Proving Grounds, Army Contracting Command, also supported us with a lot of contracts. For every particular item that we're buying, we had anywhere from, better buying power, can't just have one, anywhere from 2 to 5 contracts, right? For a couple hundred different products. Think how many contracts we're managing at one time. Unbelievable. So how do you do that, right? It's tough. It's tough. So, like I said, one of the things I did right away after I'd gone to the plant visit, after I'd gone to the Brooke Army Medical Center, I had to sit down with the senior legal counsel up at Natick and also with the KO and also with the PM team. We had to sort, how are we going to do this? What can we do? What's legally in our domain? And what I quickly found was that what the law says and what the contract says, right, is different from what the true responsibility is of the person that we're paying to do this. So, and I'll come back to that in just a minute. So that